The CDC has endorsed COVID booster shots for millions of Americans. Currently, 57.3% of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated. More than 6% of people have received a booster shot. Meanwhile, Pfizer has released promising new data on its coronavirus vaccine for kids. CBS News correspondent Meg Oliver has the latest.
Today, Pfizer reported its vaccine for kids 5 to 11 was more than 90% effective in preventing symptomatic COVID in clinical trials. This comes on the first day millions of Americans became eligible for boosters from Moderna and Johnson Johnson. Pfizer's booster was authorized last month, but the CDC has not taken a stand on whether people should mix and match doses, leaving it up to the individual instead.
There may be some people who might prefer another vaccine over the one that they received, and the current CDC recommendations now make that possible.
A small NIH study awaiting peer review looked at which combinations of brands offer the best protection. Coming in first, 3 doses of Moderna offered the highest level, followed by 2 shots of Pfizer, then Moderna. Anyone who received J&J's 1 shot would be more protected if they got either the Pfizer or Moderna shot as a booster. But an FDA review of the NIH study concluded it's not possible at this time to determine preferred boosters.
The CDC also urged pregnant women to get a booster shot. Currently, only 34% of pregnant women are fully vaccinated. The CDC chief also said today they may need to update the definition of fully vaccinated in the future, which means people may need to get a booster to be considered fully vaccinated. Lana?
All right, Meg, thank you. For more, let's bring in Dr. Bhavna Lall. She's a clinical assistant professor at the University of Houston College of Medicine. Dr. Lall, good to have you. As we heard in Meg's reporting, researchers looked at which combinations of vaccine brands provided the most protection. The CDC, of course, has yet to decide on mixing and matching doses. But what should people do when deciding on which booster to get?
So thank you so much for having me. So Moderna has been approved. Their booster has been approved. So age 65 and older, people who live in long-term care facilities, people who are at high risk for getting severe COVID-19, including underlying medical conditions with age over 18. And also those who have increased risk based on their work or occupational exposure can get a booster now of Moderna if it's been 6 months since their second dose of Moderna. You can also get the Pfizer as a second dose as well if it's been 6 months, as a third dose as well if it's been 6 months since your second dose. And now you can get a Johnson Johnson booster if it's been 2 months since your last Johnson Johnson dose. So at this point, it's also now been given the possibility that you can also get interchangeable boosters as well. So at this point, it's up to your decision, and you can also discuss this with your physician. But if you had a Johnson Johnson booster, you are also able to have this interchangeability now with Moderna or Pfizer as well, which is a great option as well.
Well, Pfizer said its coronavirus vaccine is 90.7% effective in children ages 5 to 11. This comes ahead of a major FDA advisory meeting on Tuesday. If they authorize usage, what comes next? How soon might we be able to vaccinate this population of children against COVID?
So within a couple of weeks, the FDA will be meeting October 26th, and then the advisory committee will be meeting on November 2nd and 3rd to discuss the children's vaccination. So I think that we have news coming, and I believe the government has also discussed, the White House is also discussing a rollout as soon as possible if it is approved as well.
And of course, there are parents with children under the age of 5 who are wondering when those kids are going to be eligible. First of all, can you explain for our viewers why the age groups are divided in the way that they are? And in terms of immunity and health, how are kids under the age of 5 different from those 5 and up?
So it's really important to know that these are under 5 is in trials right now, and we want to be really careful that we are getting the right dose for the children under 5 and also the children over 5 as well. And that's why these studies have taken longer than for the adults. So I think for now, for parents, it's really important to continue to maintain these mitigation measures, such as masking for children, especially for children over age 2, if they're able to, and also to continue to keep in mind that these children are still at risk. So continue for the parents to also continue to get vaccinated if they haven't done so as well, and to try to maintain a community that is actually safe for these children.
Dr.
until
Lall.
we have final data.
Right, right. And of course, there are families that have kids that span multiple different ages. So all of that factors in as well. I want to ask you about what scientists at the University of Washington found recently. They discovered that COVID mutates about 4 times faster than the flu virus. Obviously, we've talked at length about scientists hypothesizing that COVID could turn into a seasonal type of disease like the common cold. How might all of this impact our response to the virus?
So I think things are changing pretty rapidly. What we know about the disease is changing on a daily basis, and we need to be mindful of that. Right now, we don't have enough information to say what next year will be like, and we don't know if this follows the same pattern as the seasonal flu. It's been very different, as you've seen over the last 2 years. So we don't really know exactly what next year will look like, and for that reason, we need to continue to maintain, we cannot be complacent. We need to continue to follow these studies and continue to make sure that we are encouraging vaccinations, encouraging indoor masking, and make sure that we understand also that if we don't continue to vaccinate, we will have more variants and more mutations. So, for example, less than 3% of low-income countries are vaccinated right now. And if we don't get those countries vaccinated, there's also risk for increased variants coming from other countries as well. So it's really important that, of course, as we've all been saying, to continue vaccinations, whether it's in America or around the world.
Dr. Lall,
and to continue mitigation measures as well.
Of course. One last question before you go. COVID cases have been going down in the U.S. It's something that we've really celebrated being able to report. But last year, we saw them skyrocket during and after the holiday season. Are you expecting let me just say, what are you expecting to see during winter this year?
So I think the medical community, the healthcare community, the scientific community is very we're hesitant to say anything right now because we don't know exactly what, as we know with this virus, we don't know what it will bring, but we are seeing positive results with the increased vaccinations that's happening and mitigation measures, and we hope that people won't get complacent. So hopefully we will continue to have a rise in vaccination coverage and will not see the spikes that we did see last year. As you know, last year we did not have the vaccine available in November and December. Now that we do have this vaccine available and we do know how COVID spreads, I hope that, and the healthcare community hopes that we don't see the spikes we did last year. However, we have to be mindful that we can't become complacent. And there are new variants spreading. There is the new Delta Plus variant as well that is also spreading in different countries and also is in America right now, but it's not a concern as of yet, but we have to be mindful of that. And for those people that are unvaccinated still, it's very important for them to get vaccinated because they do not want to get these additional variants now that are spreading in the communities and the world.
A good reminder about variants. Dr. Bhavna Lall, thank you for joining me and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much for having me.